Welcome to the Wild Guy channel. Today we will tell you about the 10 most dangerous dinosaurs who inhabited the earth millions of years before the birth of Christ. Subscribe to the channel to learn everything about the living creatures of the earth. And we start. Spinosaurus roamed the earth during the late Cretaceous, about 98 to 95 million years ago. The name of the animal is deciphered literally as spiked lizard. It was obtained due to the presence of a large gray sail on the back in the form of vertebral bones. Initially, Spinosaurus was presented as a bipedal dinosaur that moved in the same way as the Tyrannosaurus rex. This was allegedly evidenced by the presence of muscular legs and relatively small arms. Although already at that time some paleontologists seriously thought that an animal with such a skeletal structure should have moved on four limbs, like other quadrupeds. The results of the excavation came under scrutiny, as they indicated that the hind legs were shorter. And this could indicate one thing: the dinosaur could not move on land, and the hind limbs served as a swimming mechanism. But this fact is still in question, as opinions are divided. Given that the specimen could be a subadult, it cannot be confirmed that the legs no longer develop into a different, adult stage, in which it is possible that the hind legs are lengthened. Therefore, until more fossils surface, this will remain only a speculative conclusion. This dinosaur had an amazing sail, located on the crest of the top of the back. It consisted of spike-like bones connected together by a layer of skin. Some paleontologists believe that a fatty layer was present in the structure of the hump, since in the conditions in which this species lived it is impossible to survive without an energy reserve in the form of fat. But scientists are still not 100% sure why such a hump was needed. It may have been used to control body temperature. By turning the sail towards the sun, he could warm his blood faster than other cold-blooded reptiles. Recent studies by Roman Amiot and colleagues, who studied Spinosaurus teeth in detail, found that the oxygen isotope ratios in Spinosaurus teeth and bones were closer to those of crocodilians than other animals. That is, his skeleton was more suitable for aquatic life. Tyrannosaurus rex is the real king of dinosaurs. The size of the Tyrannosaurus rex is impressive: 12 meters long, 4 meters hip height, and about 7 tons of weight. The huge skull, seated with dozens of long teeth, could be 1.5 to 2 meters long and completely fit a person. The teeth of a Tyrannosaurus rex are absolute champions among the teeth of all land predators. The length with the root reached 30 centimeters. Even the hypertrophied upper canines of the saber-toothed Smilodons were, albeit slightly, shorter. The strength of the bite of a Tyrannosaurus rex is many times greater than all modern predators. Of course, its reconstruction is not ideal and there will be recalculations, but today we have impressive figures: 250 to 300 kilonewtons. This makes Tyrannosaurus rex's jaws one of the most powerful land animals in history. The question of whether the T-Rex was a hunter or a scavenger has not yet been resolved. But the set of progressive features of the Tyrannosaurus is increasingly inclining paleontologists to a hunting lifestyle. Rex is the owner of a well-developed binocular vision. Binocular vision is the ability to focus on an object with both eyes, which gives a more accurate estimate of the distance. Such vision is more characteristic of active hunters than scavengers. The part of the Tyrannosaurus rex brain responsible for smell is also well developed. It can be said that this is characteristic of scavengers, but all carnivores have a good sense of smell, both lovers of carrion and excellent hunters. The history of the Mesozoic knew many giant predators: Spinosaurs, Gigantosaurus, Carcharodontosaurus, but the Tyrannosaurus, in addition to its size, could boast of a massive physique, increased strength of the jaws and teeth, well-developed sense organs and a huge variety of other details that make it the most recognizable image in paleontology. Mosasaurs lived in the seas and oceans that covered part of the territory of modern North America and Western Europe. The size, power and high speed of movement allowed the lizards to hunt almost all the inhabitants of the water depths. Perhaps the Mosasaurus could float to the surface of the ocean, grabbing low-gliding lizards. The predator did not spare its own kind either. Large individuals devoured their relatives, as well as smaller representatives of related species. Adult individuals were a danger even to their own offspring. they could easily kill the cubs. Mosasaurs were large, about 10 to 12 meters in length, but even larger specimens are known, reaching a length of more than 20 meters. These are real monsters with sharp teeth and powerful jaws, gnawing at everything they come across. And this is by no means an exaggeration. The remains of many animals are known, including turtles, with traces of Mosasaurus teeth. The same teeth are also found on many fossils of the mosasaurs themselves. Scientists note that although the Mosasaurus was large and heavy, it did not seem overweight and awkward. It was slender and even graceful, moved quickly in the water and made swift throws. However, no matter how successful these reptiles were, they, like dinosaurs and all their relatives, became extinct at the end of the Cretaceous period. In addition to its own relatives, the Mosasaurus had no natural enemies that could compete with it. These lizards were viviparous, bringing offspring in the water. It is assumed that due to their extremely aggressive nature, mosasaurs did not care for their cubs. The Ankylosaurus was covered from head to tail with dense, bony armor consisting of separate plates. Large, triangular, horn-shaped protrusions protected the base of his skull. Along the entire body and tail, sharp spikes protruded from the skin. The tail of the Ankylosaurus was massive and ended in a heavy bone knob. Since Ankylosaurus neighbors were such large predators as Tyrannosaurus rex and Albertosaurus, he had good reason to arm himself so seriously. Scientists believe that the thickening at the end of the tail was formed from bone nodes, initially covered with skin, which, as they grew, connected and fused with the bones of the tail. At the very beginning of the thickening, the bones of the tail were connected very tightly, so that the end of the tail was very rigid and strong. The most spectacular part of the huge, massive Ankylosaurus skeleton is undoubtedly the bulge at the end of its thick, powerful tail. This powerful weapon, used for self-defense, was about 5 times the width of a human head. It consisted of dense bone outgrowths, fused at one end. However, the Ankylosaurus was a herbivore and never killed for food. With its toothless, beak-like mouth, it plucked leaves from tree branches. The teeth of Ankylosaurus were located deep in the mouth and were very small and weak, but still suitable for chewing soft plant foods. Surprisingly, but, according to the calculations of scientists, the Ankylosaurus did not have to be slow and clumsy at all. On the contrary, he could move quite quickly due to the large step width. If an Ankylosaurus found itself face-to-face with a predator unexpectedly and could not escape, it had the opportunity to choose another strategy: bend its legs and burrow its clawed feet deep into the soil to protect its soft belly in case the attacker tried to knock it over on its back. Titanoboa is a genus of giant fossil snakes from the false-legged family, very close to the genus of boas, which is the largest known snake in history, which at one time was one of the largest inhabitants of our planet, lived 61.7 to 57.7 million years ago in the territory modern Colombia in the Paleocene, that is, almost 4 million years after the extinction of the last dinosaurs. Due to size, lifestyle and diet, there is a very large amount of controversy. Since the Titanoboa was a large animal, its diet was quite rich. She could hunt birds, small mammals, reptiles such as crocodiles, turtles and small snakes. Although it was originally believed that the Titanoboa was the top predator of the Paleocene food chain, the researchers found that the Titanoboa had a high position of palatal teeth, which confirmed the possible inclusion of fish in the diet. Modern archaeological excavations confirm this theory. The Titanoboa was a slow snake that lived near bodies of water due to its size. Contrary to popular belief, the Titanoboa did not have a venomous bite and was a rather slow animal. According to scientists, the first crocodiles appeared in the Triassic period, that is, about 250 million years ago, and today they are the only representatives of the subclass of archosaurs who survived. Few people know that extinct crocodiles lived not only in freshwater, but also in salty water. For example, Metriorhynchus lived in the seas. Their paws were transformed into flippers, a fin formed at the end of the tail, and the body had powerful armor. In general, in ancient times, the number of varieties of crocodiles was incredibly large, and they were perfectly adapted to environmental conditions. Their sizes could be from gigantic, A striking example is the ancient Sarcosuchus crocodile, to very small. Some were no larger than ordinary rodents and lived in the depths of the forest. In the Miocene era, pterosaurs lived on our planet, the length of which was 10 meters, while its skull was 1.5 meters long, and they even surpassed Dinosaurus in massiveness. If we talk about the longest crocodiles in history, then they were Rhamphosauchus, who lived in the Cenozoic, whose body could grow up to 17 meters, and the weight was about 8 tons. Triceratops is a genus of herbivorous dinosaurs from the ceratopsid family that existed at the end of the Maastrichtian age of the Cretaceous period and the beginning of the Paleocene era of the Paleogene period, approximately 68 to 60 million years ago in the territories of modern North America and India, with a large bony collar, 3 horns on its snout, large thick limbs, and a rhinoceros-like build. Triceratops are one of the most recognizable dinosaurs. Perhaps the largest predator of the time, Tyrannosaurus rex, could prey on Triceratops, but it is not clear if they could fight each other, as is often portrayed. Triceratops were herbivorous, and due to their low head position, their main food was probably low plants. The jaws ended in a narrow and deep beak, which is supposed to have been designed for tearing off plants, not chewing. The forelimbs of Triceratops were more primitive than dinosaurs such as thyreophores and many sauropods. In these two groups of dinosaurs, the forelimbs are arranged so that when walking, the hands were turned back. In Triceratops, like other ceratopsides and related quadrupedal ornithopods, the hands were placed apart during movement, which is a primitive feature for dinosaurs, and was also observed in some theropods. Carnotaurus is a South American carnivorous dinosaur of the late Cretaceous period. Its name means carnivorous bull, and was given for the characteristic appearance of this dinosaur. It is one of the most famous representatives of abelosaurids. Carnotaurus could reach over 8 meters in length and weigh almost 2 tons. Carnotaurus skin prints have been found, providing one of the most accurate representations of a dinosaur's appearance. The body of the Carnotaurus was covered with strong armor, consisting of separate shields, like those of modern crocodiles. Carnotaurus had spikes along the entire length of its back, like a modern iguana. Carnotaurus remains showed no evidence of any plumage, and its tail and hind legs have been recreated in reconstructions, relying on other abelosaurids, as these skeletal parts have not been found. The skull was decorated with horns, possibly used to attract females or even to fight. The skull of Carnotaurus is short but elongated, making Carnotaurus very different from other theropods. Much like modern snakes, the bones and muscles of the Carnotaurus's skull could move in response to food, allowing the animal to swallow large chunks and open its jaw much wider than other theropods. He had very large nostrils, which indicates a good sense of smell. The jaws were rather weak, so the Carnotaurus most likely preferred to hunt medium-sized or proportional prey. Smilodon is one of the subspecies of saber-toothed cats that inhabited the planet during the existence of ancient wolves with thylacines. Unfortunately, today not a single representative of this species has survived. This type of animal had a very specific appearance and not too large dimensions. However, it is worth noting that of all the saber-toothed cats, it was Smilodon that was endowed with the most powerful and stocky physique. Scientists have repeatedly managed to find the remains of these animals in these regions. The most ancient historical finds testified that the ancestors of saber-toothed cats quite densely inhabited North America as early as 4.5 million years ago. Various archaeological remains testified that megantherions also existed on Earth 3 and 2 million years ago. The appearance of the cat was quite specific. The body length reached 2.5 to 3 meters. Large individuals could reach 3.2 meters in length. The body height at the withers averaged 1 to 1.2 meters. Hyaenodon belongs to the genus of predatory creodonts that inhabited Europe, Asia and North America as early as 41 million years ago. The Hyaenodon genus includes a wide range of size classes. It is possible that these small hyaenodons spent most of their lives in the trees. But there were also large representatives of the genus, which were larger than modern tigers. The length of the H. megaloides skull was about 40 centimeters, while in H. gigas and H. weilini, judging by the size of their teeth and jaw fragments, the length reached 50 centimeters, and possibly more. But most hyenodons did not exceed the size of a modern wolf in size. Hyenodons had a high-set head, judging by the anatomy of the cervical spine, that is, their neck had a vertical position.